Our ancestors built the first city as a beacon of peace on Earth. And it almost was. Until one night, an unseen force plucked it from the very face of the Earth and placed it under unfamiliar stars. It was a bountiful world with no sign of civilization. A world we named Paragon. With no way to return home, we adapted. New governments were built from the seeds of our past, and with them grew new ways of life. But the vices of old still festered. Organized crime bled out from the shadows and took root, preying on the foundation of our new home. But this world had one more surprise in store. A mysterious element in the atmosphere that gave a fraction of the population superhuman abilities. Under the leadership of the city's first hero, the Age of Legends had begun. 300 years later, Paragon thrives under the protection of its champions. And yet, the shadows of the past still linger. When darkness rises, it will fall to the next generation of young heroes to defend the first city. Welcome to The First City, the show in which I forgot to write a joke for this segment because I was too busy seeing The Batman for the fourth time.
Fourth time.
But you know, that's cool, because it's great. And here we are doing other superhero things. My personality is now oat milk and the Batman, so you know, we come full circle in some way. Now, there are no announcements for this episode. There is only to say, previously on The First City. After taking our deep dive into Jeremy's mind and finding the strange lost memory of the mysterious man from Jeremy's childhood, Jeremy took some time away from the group to go just spend some time on his own and have a conversation with Pantheon, telling her essentially everything that had happened and what the memory was, ultimately so that she could go to Poltergeist with your permission and see that memory for herself. And while that was happening, the group had a nice little side mission testing out a new VR video game designed by Wi-Fi and with Team Quickstep.
Oh, it was happening. Well, that was happening. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it was happening.
That was happening.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And when they returned from that mission, they found Jeremy sitting kind of sullenly in the living room with Pantheon answering the door with a very grim demeanor as she told you that with this new information, she knows who the man was in Jeremy's memory. And that in her words, the depth of her failure goes deeper than she ever could have imagined.
Mommy fucked up.
And as she brings you inside to sit down, after having told you that it's time for you to know the truth, that's where we're going to pick up.
What does that mean?
It means you should come inside and sit down.
It feels like that at this point, the fact that even more ground-shattering information is being revealed to us is comical. Like, it's just like we're in some kind of mystery story and I just don't know what's happening 90% of the time.
This is our lives now.
Is this what being a superhero really is?
You see the look on her face, like, even half jokingly, the way that you guys just said that, there's pain here, and that just sharpened it. And she's just quiet, her mouth a tight line. And she sits herself sort of between you and like tries to center herself. sort of on the couch facing all of you, but also, away.
Hairomone will sit next to her.
There's like a slight flinch, like that's not what she really wanted, but she doesn't move. She doesn't get up.
I know.
I'll sit next to Hairomone.
Look, I'm not even sure where to start now. I talked to Jeremy. I went to Poltergeist. I saw, and there's a connection here that I didn't even consider, and frankly don't really know what to do with. But I guess I'll start at the beginning and say that I told you once that the reason that I walked away from everything, all of this, what I was before, was because I lost that piece of myself. The human piece. The centerpiece. But that's not entirely true. I mean, that's not all of it. I was ready to give up right then and there, walk away from everything, but the headmaster at the time of the Moonlight Academy offered me a job, a chance to step away from the public eye, but still have some influence on this community. And, well, in his mind, hopefully it would maintain its influence on me to try and ground me, save me from the pit of despair that I was falling into. And it worked for a time. But one of the main reasons that I agreed to take on a team of students is because when Dr. Guest changed sides, when he came to me, he told me I was the reason. What he had seen of me, what I would do, is why he realized that he had been on the wrong side. And he told me that the students I would train here, he told me they would do great things. So I took a shot. And I was assigned 3 students. One was Fortress, one was Pillar, and one was a young man who called himself Veritas. All 3 of them were powerful, and all 3 of them carried so much pain in their past, in their present. They were a lot like you. In so many ways. And for a time, it was good. But keeping a secret from them, the closer we all became, the more they felt like a family to me. I felt that I had a responsibility to tell them the truth, and I told them what Dr. Guest had told me, specifically, about their futures. And Veritas, he wasn't ready to hear it. Of my 3 students, he was the most difficult to train. My heart bled for him, what he had been through. And maybe I should have known. I've tried to tell myself that I could never have predicted. But he became obsessed at first with trying to meet that destiny. And then it mutated into trying to defy that destiny. He became something unrecognizable to me. He tried to use his power to influence the rest of the world to see his same viewpoint. And Pillar's heart bled for everyone. His power was to amplify the powers of others when he was in their proximity. He tried to stop Veritas. Veritas, in turn, tried to use his power to take over the city. Pillar sacrificed himself to prevent that from happening. And Veritas became Vitriol. And when the name Vitriol hits your ears, every single one of you knows exactly who that is.
I knew it.
One of the most famous villains in the history of this world. Granted, you never knew that he was a student of Moonlight Academy. But his power, famously, was that he could make it so that anyone who hears him speak believes what he says to be the truth. But most notably, you recall that there was something that happened between 4 and 5 years ago. A grand final stunt of his. Got a lot of people killed, including himself. At least it led to the death of himself. Because to your knowledge, he was put to death after his trial. He was executed. And this sinks in. This is like, there were no roles associated with this. This is so incredibly public. She lets that moment breathe for a moment as well. She doesn't quite continue until she knows that you've sort of processed this.
What was the future that he was trying to run away from?
You know, I knew you were going to ask me that. And still, I'm not prepared. See, the truth that I owe you, the same truth that I owed them, if it doesn't belong to them, then it belongs to you. And I cannot give you that.
My next comment was about to be, well, I'm sure glad that Dr. Guest can't read into our future. But is what you're saying that that mantle would then be passed to us, whatever that future reality is?
I don't know.
But you're going to let us wander into the darkness and figure it out ourselves?
I don't even know if it's true. I mean, the way that his power worked, I guess. He could see probabilities. He was almost always right. He wasn't right about them. But if that prophecy was actually about you, I didn't come back here to make sure that you met that destiny. I came back here to protect you from it. When I say that I see seeds of similarity with all of you, it's not just about you, it's about the way that I feel about you. I don't know if I'm cut out for this job because it is so easy for me to feel like to feel responsible for you. All of you. And she looks at Jeremy. And I would be lying if I said the seeds that made Veritas into vitriol. I would be lying if I said that I didn't see them in you as well. All of you, I'm sorry. But any one of you could take a few wrong steps somewhere down the line and find the same dark path that he went down. And I do not want that for you. Best case scenario, you spend your entire career here, maybe the rest of your lives, with that knowledge hanging over your mind. It could change everything. Whether it comes true or not. And that's not fair. No one deserves that. The most cruel thing that Fortress ever did was ask me to come back here. What could I have done but say yes?
I mean, you can go down the list of heroes that went down the wrong path and turned evil. Like, it's not just vitriol. There are others. Even without the prophecy, there would always be the chance that one of us would take that path. So, I don't know. What do you expect us to do with all of this? Because it's just another drop in the bucket of things we don't know and things that we're expected to combat and deal with that aren't being fully explained to us or outlined to us. If Dr. Guest doesn't see what's in our future, then I think that's a pretty sure probability that we are who's being spoken about in legend, prophecy, but being spoken about prophetically. But do we just keep letting the world happen around us, or at what point are we allowed to take an active stance? You know?
I've kept more from you than I would have liked. That's true. I haven't been for you what I could be, because I've tried to keep myself from getting as close as I did then. And I've been letting that go because I see the potential in you, not the potential of probability, things that might happen, some vague outline of something completely unpredictable. It doesn't matter. What you're capable of is what you are capable of. Why does it matter if I put some goalpost, it's just as much of a piece of shit blowing in the wind as any other tent pole you might set for yourselves, but at least those would be yours.
Pantheon, yet again, the world is not going to let us set those benchmarks or tent poles by ourselves because, I mean, she looks at Jeremy, she looks at everyone else, and then looks at Pantheon again, and maybe looks at her hands and like fiddles with her fingers. I feel like what you're about to tell us is the man in Jeremy's vision is Vitriol. So if he's making moves and we're supposed to stop him, we're already pretty much we're in the fire.
Well, he is dead, right? He's 100% dead.
At his execution, Fortress and Dr. Quickstep were allowed to be present. And after his death, his body was incinerated.
Because I understand that the memory is a memory, so it's from the past. I just want to make sure that he didn't get out of death and isn't currently doing stuff.
I've got a clone of me sitting in jail right now.
Exactly.
And it's also possible that, hell, I mean, it's probable that he could have laid a foundation before his death.
What if the silencer is part of that foundation? She's the test. It's all part of the God.
Feels right to me. If that's something that Hairomone said out loud, people would say that.
Yeah.
At the height of Vitriol's power, he could plant truths that blossomed into actions in people's minds years in advance. That's what made him so dangerous. And the idea that this Norman believes that there's someone who can amplify powers just like Pillar could. I don't know what these pieces add up to. I just know they're familiar, too familiar. And the fact that he's still able to do this, to affect me like this, to affect the world, even after his death. That is the depth of my failure. And the failure of destiny. It's worthless.
And Jeremy, can I ask something to the group?
Shoot.
Is it possible that he could have planted anything in Jeremy's mind on that night?
Well, he said that Jeremy wouldn't be the kind of person to poke into his parents' affairs. What if that was enough just to make Jeremy never question anything that was going on or even forget that he even had that conversation with him? I mean,
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I've been hearing a lot of things that so far they don't add up, but not in a bad way. Now, Pantheon, I understand, or at least maybe I don't understand, but I empathize with how you feel. But destiny, this vague prophecy from Dr. Guest or whatever, I think that if I don't, at least your original team deserves to hear it, because no matter what someone else tries to implant in your mind, your actions are your own, your decisions are your own. And I can tell you that whatever he tried to implant in my mind didn't work, because where do you think I got all the information that I stole from the PDP in Alma? That was all from my parents' terminals. Every single report, every single update, that was from them. I chose to do that. I chose to leave the PDP, to break out, to become a fugitive. I chose to forgive my clone for killing my parents. And I'm choosing to be a hero. Now, I am here for something completely different. I'm not here to learn how to be a hero. I know how to be a hero. I'm here to bring justice. And right now, justice is helping your team at least know what could possibly be coming and choosing to make sure that it doesn't happen.
I've made so many mistakes because I follow this before I follow what's upstairs. It served me well in the past, but it's also left wounds in this world that are now tearing open again. I see the progress that you've all made. Sometimes I feel like Dr. Guest. Except all the potentialities that I see, they all branch out from one place, and that's fear. Mine. I own that. Believe me when I say that you do not know what you're asking for. Maybe that's your point, but it's not a fine enough point. I've fought with Fortress about this for months. She agrees with you. I don't. At least not yet. I've known you for just a few short months. And I care for you. Deeper than I thought that I could anymore. And I'm grateful for that. It's been a long time since I've had something to protect again. And I'm not throwing it away that easily. I'm sorry. It hurts. All the time. Sometimes Sometimes you deserve better than truth.
I think that's just a selfish way out.
I would like to put forward that I never want to know, because in my comparatively little life experience, I have found that shit just happens and it's no one's fault, and we all have to deal. As protectors, we just have to deal. And so maybe you trying to protect us will make it happen. Maybe it won't make it happen. Maybe it'll make something worse happen. Maybe us, I'll just speak for myself. Maybe me knowing, trying to fight it or trying to do it will lead to a whole other slew of shit, an AoE effect of bad or good, who knows. So you don't have to worry about me, because I'm just going to do what I think is right. And then, we'll just one day at a time. We could
Sure, I'll ride with Hairomone on that.
we could all die tomorrow. Let's just take it one day at a time.
Well, I will tell you this. This thing, Bailey, this thing that you want to know, it's not even a part of this. It's a point on the horizon, so vague, so theoretical. Sure, it would help you understand what made Vitriol do what he did. But you're right, it was his choices. But what matters now is the information that we have and what we can do now. You need to take an active role, you're right, in what is happening to you now. Not worry about some bizarre what if. It doesn't matter. But we know that there are kids in danger. We know that Jeremy's parents were feeding information to Vitriol.
And still fucking with BB's mom somehow.
Historically, Vitriol, he saw himself almost as a sort of filter for the world. He thought we needed to focus on rooting out corruption, what was wrong with this world, burning the forest down to plant a new one, so to speak. And he thought it was his responsibility to force people who wouldn't choose to do the right thing. Historically, he didn't have associates, which is why hearing that word in that memory was so surprising. He never would have called the people that he planted associates. If anything, they were chess pieces. He only used his power on people he thought were not worthy of their free will. But if there are people now executing his vision, his plan, something he left behind, silhouette size. And she leans forward for the first time in this conversation. Her hands are kind of like fidgeting over her stomach. And she goes, then we need to figure out if they're, associates or chess pieces. Right?
And the question is, how deep, is Tara Baker herself a piece under his influence? Is Albert Rose? Is the whole damn department in charge of this research and seemingly the execution of this research? Is it all leading back to Vitriol? Are they actively choosing to do this separate from him? Or is it a mixture of both? Like what,
Silhouette crosses her arms and she goes, one of the most impressive things that Dr. Quickstep ever did was invent a way to counter Vitriol's power. Pantheon nods. She continues. She goes, his power only worked if you could hear his voice. What Dr. Quickstep created was essentially a way to, in real time, filter, sort of scramble the audio input so that you weren't getting the pure sort of raw information of his voice. If it was altered in any way, the effect wouldn't take hold. And we had that for years before he died. It seems strange to me that he found a way around that. The last thing he ever did was, for lack of a better way of putting it, he sort of hijacked a series of experimental jets and he bombed the United Heritage Museum. And you guys do vaguely remember that.
And I'm sure I've read about the United Heritage Museum.
Yeah.
But, I definitely 100% remember exactly what it is and when that happened. But
it would be something that is very important to you personally, I would say.
In BB's training, could I roll an intelligence check to just see about that attack and why it mattered, like why he chose that specific target?
Please do.
Okay.
You got pissed he was losing and just committed a hate crime? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You can have one level of advantage as well if you need it, because
thank God, that was 2 failures.
Because you've studied hero history to such a degree, and this is also pretty public knowledge. You're just trying to dive a little deeper.
So BB starts kind of like panicking and is trying to think back through her memory. And just on the point of being like, God, did I ever study this? It all comes back to her because I got 2 failures and a 6. So full success.
Okay. So full success. Essentially, the United Heritage Museum was, in a sense, a museum of Earth. And there is a museum of Earth. When they sort of rebuilt it, they renamed it out of respect. They didn't want to just sort of rebuild the same thing. But the United Heritage Museum was a gathering of cultural artifacts from various cultures that were left over from Earth. It was a place to sort of remember Earth, which is kind of a rare thing. It was almost like, because most of Paragon, really all of Paragon, not just First City, almost all of the cultures of Paragon have sort of collectively chosen to internalize those things and their heritage, but move on from it in some respect, primarily just in terms of not trying to find a way to get back to Earth or over romanticize Earth. They just live on with their culture that they have preserved, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone has found ways to preserve their culture in their own way, you know. But this place, it was somewhere to go to remember together, to kind of reminisce and learn about what Earth was like as we remember it in the history of Earth. It was the place for that. And Vitriol destroyed it. And thinking back, what you know of his motivations, he was not shy about it. I mean, his ideology was clear. And he believed that really any focus on the past, specifically when it comes to Earth or trying to get back to Earth in any way, he believed that that was propelling society backwards. That we are stronger on Paragon, better on Paragon, that we were given a chance by forces unknown to rebuild in a world that we had not destroyed. A world free from pollution, division, the scars of Earth's history, to start fresh with a fraction of the population in a lush, bountiful world. And he made it his mission to grind into the ground, to stamp out anything that tried to propel us back in his mind, back to a worse state. In a sense, it was very much his final mission. And certain, you know, sort of villain psychologists, which is kind of a glitzy sort of celebrity profession, people trying to sort of cash in on analyzing and interviewing supervillains and like, oh, you know, what's their motivations. But there are nuggets of, yeah, but there are nuggets of truth to be found in there. If you have to sift through the sort of puff pieces and the, yeah, exactly, to find genuine attempts to understand these people. And, you know, in doing so, certain theories emerged that it almost felt like Vitriol knew he was going to die. When he was brought in, reports say that he had almost nothing to say to the press or to people interviewing him. He said nothing during his trial, didn't try to defend himself. He functionally just let himself die at the hands of the government, which was extremely out of character from his entire career as a villain. So you remember this very clearly. And all of this flashes in your mind through your research.
I think through conversation, I clarified these points as we're all kind of discussing Vitriol's past. I forget where the conversation was prior to that, though. So what do we do from here?
Well, as much as I'm loath to admit it, your conversation with Silencer, I think you should prepare for it as much as you can. Go in knowing what you want to say. Because if I had to venture an educated guess, I would say Warden Fell isn't going to give you that much time. We need to determine who she's working for. if she'll cooperate enough to tell us why. If she is under the influence of vitriol, well, that would imply that she's been alive long enough to have been alive when he still was. The timeline might not add up there. I mean, Phoebe, if your DNA was taken at some point while you were in the PDP to create her.
But I think they can, it seems like they can clone at any age because JJ deteriorated really rapidly. And it's not like he would have lived up until same age as Jeremy and been totally fine, then all of a sudden just falling apart.
That's true.
It seems like there's a shelf life for each of these clones. And maybe the silencer is just a little bit longer. She also looks a lot older than me, so maybe she just was aged up.
Maybe. But that's a question to consider, right? I mean, she could only have been influenced by vitriol if she was around 5 years ago or more.
Does it even matter? If she's working for people who were definitely around when vitriol was.
That's a good point.
That's what we need to know.
I
Real
keep
quick.
looking.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. No, you go.
I just want to clarify. Vitriol started doing his bullshit after the Boundless attacked First City, right? The timeline is Boundless attacked, Pantheon goes into... What is the timeline of when she trains?
So 25 years ago is when she died in the public eye. But in reality, she went to Moonlight Academy to train 3 students, and those 3 students were them.
Gotcha.
And it's been about like vitriol was active starting like 23, 24 years ago. And he died about 4-ish years ago.
I was cooking up a conspiracy theory that he started the Boundless, but that doesn't make any sense. So I'm gonna just throw it out.
I'm like continuously checking my phone, I think, over the past few weeks to see if there's any messages from my mom about the silencer meeting. Has anything come through at this point?
Not at this moment, but as you're checking your phone, I think, do you have like updates enabled for breaking news and things like that?
Oh yeah, of course. BB has super Amber Alert. She can hear when even like slightly bad things are going wrong.
As you pull out your phone and you're looking through, you do get a blip of breaking news report. And you see that Albert Rose, the director of First City's branch of AID, is set to make his first public statement at noon tomorrow.
About what?
It says to address concerns about the things that have been happening.
This isn't his first public statement ever, right?
No, it's his first public statement since the
Okay, sorry.
The things that you guys with Fortress leaked about, like Jeremy's whole shit, the genome, the video that you released, all of that stuff, since people became essentially suspicious of him.
I was like, damn, First City can just have a leader just working entirely in the shadows, and that's cool.
No, he has made no
Sorry.
public appearances since that.
Understood.
Yeah.
Hey, looks like our friend Mr. Rose is going to be finally opening up his fucking jaw and maybe speaking some truth. We'll see.
Maybe it's time for me to have another conversation with Detective Asher.
What would be a check to like deceive to not show any emotion?
Ooh,
Ooh.
interesting. Yeah,
A vibe
we don't really do social roles.
Probably
So
willpower.
it would be, yeah, probably just trying to assert your will so strongly that you're undetectable. We can either roll against a sort of passive baseline, or you can do the roll.
3 out of 5. I think that
Okay.
if anybody wants to try and gauge Jeremy's reaction,
Oh, maybe would try to do that.
But if it's sort of a
Okay.
passive thing too, it's only active. You only need to make a roll if BB does look out for it and is like, is Jeremy reacting right now?
Is Jeremy reacting right now? I didn't get it.
Yeah.
very cool.
Okay.
I'm looking at Pantheon. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
So as far as you know, Jeremy, nobody seems to be particularly invested in your emotional reaction to this particular piece of information.
We don't give a fuck.
Ayo, fuck you.
Bro, you trying to have this emotional moment? No one gives a shit. Sorry. Sorry. All right. Back to serious moment. So for now, we just get to keep being fun college students, right? Carefree, going to class, going to training. We don't have to worry about this looming weight of destiny, do we? That was a joke.
love the idea of BB being like, this is I'm joking.
That's absolutely how BB interacts.
I should speak with Fortress and Dr. Guest, try to get a hold of Detective Asher, see if we can glean any insight into what Rose might say. In the meantime, I would say hold tight, maybe lay low, and prepare to speak with Silencer. Go in knowing what you need to ask. There's no
Give Ashar our
graceful
regards. Give Ashar our regards. Sorry, what were we saying?
there's no graceful way for me to exit this conversation at this point.
Get face to the wall.
I won't insult you by saying I'm sorry again. But I told you before, and she looks at BB. In times like these where we face ourselves, we do our best. And she leaves. Sort of leaving you guys to have the night to yourselves.
Do you guys want to go get food and unpack that?
I gotta say, if the whole destiny thing is that, like, oh, we're gonna die or something, I'm gonna be very unimpressed.
Yeah. I think for superheroes, that's not really destiny. That's just part of the job. A
That's
workplace
just
hazard.
Tuesday.
I mean, for me, it kind of is.
Yeah. True.
Like, I almost die every other year, so it's fine.
How does Silhouette look right now?
Silhouette looks tired. It looks like she just got whiplashed from like the best day of her life right back into a place she didn't want to be. And she's having trouble clicking into that.
Whisper over to BB, maybe it's not a go outside kind of day anymore.
Maybe I'll make some chili.
I will help you make some chili.
Chili. We
When
go to the kitchen.
Pantheon leaves,
Mhm.
I just shoot her a text that says, I love you too. And then I also shoot Riley a text that
Ooh.
says, I've been a shit, and if you'd let me, I'd like to apologize in person. And then I go help BB McJilly.
Hell yeah. Go off, Hairomone.
He does respond after like 15 minutes.
I was not expecting this.
And he says, it's okay, I haven't been around. If you want to come over tomorrow, after Rose's announcement, I'll be home.
I think Haramone's deep in the chili zone at that point, so they don't respond until later that night. It's just a simple, like, yes, of course, sort of thing.
So you all sit together, enjoy a meal.
Eating chili with our hands.
Unhinged.
And as you're finishing up, BB, you get up to go try to wash up a little bit. You start putting your bowl away and you start preparing to like sort of dress down for the evening, you know, like that wind down period of after dinner, but like before bed. And right as you begin to start doing that, you get a text.
No.
Oh no.
No.
Well, I don't look at it because I'm with my friends. I'm spending time with my friends, and that's disrespectful. No, I'm kidding. I look at it.
And it says, Hargrove has the car waiting for you out front. Urgent.
What? Right fucking now.
About your
Right now?
About your meeting. Meeting is in quotation marks.
My mom's outside. I say that to the house at large.
She's just pulled up to campus? Like what?
I guess. Do you want to all go see her together in her limo? I'm sure there will be snacks.
I will absolutely clean her out of all of her snacks, and I'm gonna steal all of the booze I can, and yeah, let's go exploit your mom's wealth.
I guess I'm gonna be scaring the shit out your mom. Okay.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Maybe. Oh yeah, that's fair. Maybe you stay
you
here.
should stay here.
Silhouette though, if you want to
You
come,
guys
we'll bring
get to
snacks
have
back.
all
For you.
the fun.
Silhouette goes, if it's all the same to you, I'll stay with Jeremy.
All right. Well, party too.
I will proceed to get into full disguise really quickly, and grab a backpack to fill with said snacks.
Hell yeah.
There better be snacks, I swear to God.
Does full disguise have a mask?
No, full disguise is brown contacts, a different style of hair that is very different than Haramone's like everyday style of hair, which, you know, varies on their mood. I think right now it's just like one braid that's like wrapped around to make a bun.
Oh, nice.
Kind of Star Wars fashion. And then just like full coverage, like theater makeup. That's like made for like covering tattoos and shit to cover all of the scars. I mean, they're gonna wear something that's like a long sleeve, long pant, but anything that's like showing, they're like like really fast.
Okay. So you guys make your way out to the front of the school.
Maybe there is a mask. I don't know. Maybe there's a mask for Jess right now. through.
She didn't even come to our camp, like our house. She
Well,
she
no, she
can't
wouldn't be
get
able to get
in.
in
oh fair
to the
Okay.
camp. Yeah, you have to like go through the gate of the Hero campus through the traditional college campus, and then out to the front to like the street
Gotcha.
out, outside of which is the city proper, where there is like a drop-off zone and a visitor parking area. And you very distinctly see a black sort of maglev limousine currently with its struts out, parked in the visitor parking area.
Go over and hop
And-
in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There is a man who standing in front of the car, sort of waiting with his hands clasped sort of behind him. And he's a tall, scarecrow-like man in a black suit. He looks like he's in his late middle age with slick gray hair, with a strong hairline. It doesn't seem like his hair is receding quite yet, or he's got expensive treatments or something. But yeah, he has actually darker, like brown hair that's slicked back, and it's got the Reed Richards graying on the sides. Very clean shaven, very well kept, very big, expressive eyes, and like hard smile lines. And BB, you know this man to be your mother's personal assistant, Hargrove. And
Have I known him like my whole life?
you've known him your whole life, yes.
I
And it's
feel
up
like
to
I
you
have
what
a-
the full relationship is with
I
him.
feel like I have a good relationship with him.
I
I
was-
don't
yeah.
think it's. I think that, excuse me, in terms of the people who took care of BB,
Mhm.
like most of them were pretty actually like
Chill.
kind and
Yeah.
fine. It was just the mom and then the dad dipping that were like, "Fuck you." So I think she's actually really excited to see Hargrove again,
Okay.
and goes up and maybe gives him a little bit of like a fist bump. It's like, oh, it's been a long time, hasn't it?
Right. And it is good to see you.
Likewise. Where's the
Crone. Hag.
that
He does that thing of like when you try to bother the fuzzy hat British guards, where he's like, your mother is waiting for you inside, he says in a very discreet tone. He says, we're going to take a little drive around the block, if you don't mind. I don't think she was necessarily hoping your friends would accompany you, but she was expecting it, he says, and he winks at you, BB.
well, there could have been more, but we decided to keep it to a party or two tonight. And then I think as BB gets into the car, she reaches into a pocket and like slips Hargrove like some candy or something from campus that he probably wouldn't ever grab or pick up in his normal life, but she just wants to give him something. What kind of shit would they have on for a city campus? What kind of
Anything.
college merch would would Moonlight Academy have?
I mean, it
Um,
has got moons in it, like crescent moons.
Yeah,
Well, there is like I was just drawing the art for Mr. Menagerie, and he wears a varsity jacket, but it has an FC logo, and the F is stylized in such a way that looks like, that sort of college varsity jacket lettering, but the F is superimposed diagonally over the C, like for First City, but the C is a crescent moon.
This
That's
is
sort of the
okay.
logo for
Keychain.
Moonlight
This-
Academy.
Keychain.
This is a little bit too much, but I just love it. People would have probably assumed that she would see Hargrove at some point. So she slips him this very small sticker. It's not a bumper sticker that says, my daughter is on the honor roll at Moonlight Academy.
Yes.
Very good.
It's funny. It's a
Artwork.
joke.
New artwork for my thermos. And he smiles at you.
Thank you. And then I hop in the car.
He opens the door for you. And you slide into a cold and plush leather interior, spaced very wide on the inside with a separator for when Hargrove steps in. You can't see him or hear him. And you assume that he can't really hear you. And your mother is sitting on the opposite side
with a glass that she picks up from a cup holder with like a sparkling clear liquid in it with no ice that she just sort of sips from.
You said no ice with such disdain. With no ice.
I believe in ice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
This
no, me
man
too.
is the ice cat. He likes more ice in his drink than there is in Antarctica. Like
That's
he,
false.
no, yeah, it's
But it's a fair example.
The
It's
only
a
problem
good,
I have
it's a
with-
good
it's
exaggeration.
so much ice.
It's a good
It is
metaphor. I
so
love
much
ice. Ice is great. The texture of the drink is improved by the ice. It makes it heavier, so it's more satisfying, and it makes it colder, which is better. Just
Hard
make it doesn't
agree.
dilute if you make the drink sweeter. Just concentrate
My-
the drink more, and it'll be fine. Sorry.
My one caveat is just when you go to like a Starbucks or something and they give you like just a cup full of ice.
Oh yeah.
And then the
no.
actual liquid you're getting is about this much of a venti.
Mm-mm.
That's when I draw the line. But I'm
No, no,
also an ice man. But Tara Baker fucking isn't, so we don't like her.
It looks like
I-
just like straight sparkling water.
Yeah, of course.
Ugh.
And she shoots a semi-distasteful look at Hairomone. She goes,
It's
Is
one less than last time.
that's a good point. Are there any exposed bottles of anything in this limo?
yeah, there's like a stocked like little mini fridge bar area
There's
like,
gotta
all
be.
along the sides. Yeah.
Okay, I would like to say that even if there's some on either side, I make direct eye contact with her, open the fridge, and reach over BB to take the one on BB's side
Mhm.
and put it in my bag.
Yes. Baby grabs something out of the fridge too and starts drinking and grabs a snack and starts eating. She's eating corn nuts, which are the loudest snack possibly
Mhm.
besides Takis. Maybe she's also eating Takis. Sorry. Hello, mother. Crunch.
And the car sort of comes to life as she knocks backward on the door. And you feel it move up on its repulsors. The struts sort of come in and it begins to drive you around the block. But the windows are tinted. You can see out, but you know people can't see in. You've been transported in a vehicle just like this before, BB, where you needed to get somewhere,
yeah.
but nobody wanted anyone to see you. And she's silent for a minute, just long enough to sort of get away from the campus. Almost like she's waiting, even though you know no one can hear you. It's like she just doesn't want to speak until she can't see this place anymore.
Huh.
And her shoulders like move down a little bit. You're saying.
No, I just that for some reason that description of she doesn't want to speak until she can't see this place anymore hit pretty hard.
Mhm.
So we're just sitting in silence with. Can I do a little bit of ADR right now?
Oh, I
We're
know where this
sitting-
is going.
We're sitting in silence with.
Yep.
Wait, get closer, get closer.
These are actually pretty quiet talkies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, audience.
I will say we tried every like pregnant beat where there's silence. Hairomone is just reaching over and just taking another one and putting it in the backpack. And then like another like, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds go by, open the mini fridge again, putting another one in the bag.
Just hearing.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I think future talkies are called walkie-talkies, and they are less dusty, so you can eat them on the go without getting your fingers dirty. The flavor's just baked in, and they're a little quieter.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Back to this very
Lore.
serious scene.
Yeah, definitely. And she says, I imagine you saw the announcement earlier that Albert Rose is going to make an appearance.
Yeah, I think we're all waiting on pins and needles to see what he's going to say. What fun lies he's going to spout to the general public.
There's been a lot of pressure on the man since the accusations came to light.
What?
He's been cooperative, but when the investigation hit a dead end, he went radio silent, not just to the public, but to us. There were rumors circulating, pressure to resign until at least until the heat died down, but I'm not entirely sure what to expect. Either way, it created an opportunity. I've been trying to work with Dr. Fell, find an appropriate time to allow visitors to this very high-profile prisoner. You see, visitors have been very strictly forbidden for the time being. And as you know, she has refused to speak, and only to myself and to the warden has she expressed that she will only speak to her sister and her friends. Of course, this hasn't been revealed to the public, so there's going to be some discretion. But Warden Fell has informed me that during Rose's speech tomorrow would be an opportune time. You can visit more discreetly. You will have 1 hour alone with her unrecorded. I will be nearby, but she won't speak with you with me present. And we're not preparing her for your arrival. I think it would be beneficial for you to see her raw reaction to your arrival.
Huh. That is all actually kind of generous.
Well, he owes me a favor.
And it
How-
benefits him anyways.
Perhaps.
True.
To get his prisoner to speak. Yeah.
Or
How
to
is,
cooperate at least.
How's she doing?
Difficult to say.
Is she deteriorating like JJ did?
No. Physically, she's in prime condition. She is being monitored for that very reason, but as of yet, no such deterioration. I have had certain scientists under my employ and physicians tracking such things. We're trying to determine her true age. Not a terribly difficult process. And we've been able to determine that she is somewhere in the ballpark of 4 to 5 years old.
Ooh. That's not good.
And she looks like me when I'm like 30, right?
She's in the physical shape of somewhere around 25.
25. Huh.
So aging 5 times faster
Yeah, roughly.
than a normal human would.
That sounds.
No, her
Sounds
rate of
right.
aging is normal. Which would mean that upon her creation, she was designed to be around 20.
Okay. Eric in that moment went to. They are cloned of them at the age that they are when they are cloned, but BB is still 18, so that would make any sense. Okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure that was sticking in my brain. Cool.
She has
she-
been
yeah.
she has been a model prisoner, if such a thing exists. No fights, no attempted use of her powers. Hardly a word to anyone. though strangely she has refused treatment of the scars left by your, I won't say attack.
Can she speak?
Yes, we treated the injury. Replaced missing teeth. She has full functionality. It's just ordinarily most people opt to have the scars treated so that they're not visible, simply aesthetically. She wanted to keep the scars. She seems proud of them.
At least there'll be more ways to tell us apart.
That did cross my mind.
You've done a lot of legwork to set this up. And I'm sure there's some way that you're getting a kickback from it that I can't see. But is there anything that you want me to ask the silencer?
Well, assuming you haven't forgotten your training, it's safe for me to assume that the correct questions are already prevalent in your mind. Who she's working for, why, where. And as far as a kickback, what I get out of this is information, dependent entirely on two things. One, that she cooperates in the first place, and second, that you do.
Seems like you're getting everything you want, don't it? You know?
Gliding by the obvious demonstration that, despite my best efforts, you seem not to know me at all. It is the second point, your cooperation, that concerns me more. I have no illusions that you want to be here. But I should stress that your little rebellious phase should not take precedence over our common goal and what is right in this moment.
Oh, believe me, when I'm confronted by a clone of myself that was probably illegally made, I know exactly what the parameters are and how to operate. I know it's expected of me.
Let me be very clear. If she gives you information that will lead to the unraveling of any piece of this sharp-edged puzzle that we've all been forced into, a failure to report that to me that's beyond disgraceful. It would be foolish. I hope you understand that before you decide that you want to keep the security of this world inside the walls of an ungoverned place.
Grace and disgrace are such I don't know, relative terms. And BB opens up the fridge again, takes out another drink, puts it in Haramone's bag, and turns to Hairomone and goes, "What do you think?"
I think that we don't respect you, but we respect the situation at hand. And I also think that you should respect certain ungoverned places more, because they actually understand what it means to be loyal, what family means, what it means to protect the people you're supposed to. So yeah, we'll probably tell you what we learn. You just have to be prepared for these ungoverned places to be told as well, because we actually trust them with the information. But we'll probably tell you.
Couldn't have said that better myself.
Believe me, that is something that I have had to divert precious resources into preparing for my entire career. It's nothing new, save for your complacence. You feel the car pull back up, having circled the block a bit. And you look out the window and you see that you're back in the lot again. Unless there's anything else you want to share with me. Hargrove will pick you up here at precisely 10 a.m. to drive you to the vessel that will bring us to the Northern Isle. Will be transported directly to the helipad atop Blackstone. Don't be late. And the door opens. And Hargrove stands outside.
Me and my team will be here. And I get out. I take one more bottle of something and then get out.
We have like 10 bottles of stuff.
Yeah. Hairomone gets out of the limo. It's just clink, 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 clink.
Yep.
BB hugs Hargrove pretty tight and then doesn't say anything and just says, actually, no, just says, oh, see you tomorrow.
As you're hugging him, he sort of puts the open door between you and your mother just for a moment.
Yeah.
And he says to you kind of in your ear as he has you in that hug, it may not be my business to know what it is you've been doing, but it does my heart good to see you happy.
I'm like honestly actually about to cry right now. Oh man. I think BB does. I think Hargrove is weirdly just like the only surrogate parental figure she had kind of in those really dark years. Maybe one other person, but that was just who was literally around. So she hugs him one more time and wipes a tear from her eye and then follows Hairomone back to the house.
You head back inside and find Silhouette just sort of waiting up.
Oh, one more thing. Sorry, I forgot. But BB would turn to Hairomone and be like, thank you for coming. Having you here was necessary for me, and I really appreciate it.
I mean, I'm not, even if we weren't like a team and everything, like knowing what she did to you, I would never let you alone with her. Are you kidding me?
Thank you. Yeah, so Silhouette, we're back. You missed out on a lot of free beverages, but luckily enough, blink, 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 blink.
You're okay?
who's ever okay when they talk to my mom? But we made it out, and we have a date tomorrow to go to Blackrock, or is it Blackstone?
Still.
Blackstone.
Oh.
So bright and early. Are you gonna come to that one, or are you gonna?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
Because Silencer wants to speak to you too. I don't know if we can bring Jeremy though, unfortunately, unless we disguise him super heavily.
I think the heat's a bit too much for me to be there. I think that a simple holographic mask is not gonna fool them.
Yeah. Well, we'll get a little recording so you can hear it too. Oh wait, I already asked this before, but do you have any questions that you want us to ask Silencer about cloning, about anything? If she ever met JJ?
I mean, I assumed that you were going to ask those already, so
Yeah.
that's a bit redundant. But I will ask, if you would, just ask her if negative infinity means anything to her,
Okay.
and if she does say anything about it, keep it on the down low. Like,
Mhm.
4 of us level
Doesn't
stuff.
leave this room. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Negative infinity. We'll do that.
Thank you.
What are you gonna do tomorrow?
I'll figure something else. I'll figure something out.
You always do. All right. Well, I don't want seconds of chili, so I think I might just go to bed early.
Big day.
Good night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night, gang.
I
And BB kind of quietly goes off to her room and stays awake all night laying in bed.
The next morning, I can only imagine that BB gets up first, considering you didn't really sleep.
Oh no. She making brekkie. She got eggs going, bacon going, toast. The
As you're
classics.
cooking, you see that Silhouette is like sleeping through your cooking. It looks like she slept on the couch, and you see that her laptop is like on her stomach, and she's like sleeping there. And she wakes up somewhere in the middle of your cooking and sort of frantically gets up and goes upstairs. And when she eventually comes down, you see that she has an almost Tonitrus-like mask that she's put together. It's not as like fancy as his, but it covers like the top of her hair, and she pulls her hair up like into a bun so it's in there. And then it just sort of daredevil domes over this way and ties behind.
Damn.
Have you always had that?
Just in case. I mean, I just threw it together. It's not really like, just like cut it out of a shirt, basically. It's not really.
You cut that out of a shirt? It looks really good. It suits you.
Is this a sneak peek at your hero outfit?
No.
Are you lying?
Unclear if you're lying because
Not
you don't
sure.
know.
I don't know. We'll see.
That's fair.
It's on the table. We'll see.
I don't know either.
Straight
So I
up
feel
copying my style though, because I was gonna say that Hairomone has put their hair into braids and they have a do-rag on as part of the disguise.
Mhm.
So thanks, Silhouette.
Face cover.
No, just like
Mm.
very, very specific. You can do anything with the power of makeup. Structuring their
Hell yeah.
face in a different way.
All right.
With the power of makeup and vague prosthetics, like lightweight prosthetics, like contacts, and a little bit of like face putty.
That makes sense.
Ben
I
Nye
like that.
face putty.
I think BB's wearing her like casual outfit, the cowboy jacket with the hoodie underneath, and then jeans, boots. But I think instead of just the kind of fake normal glasses she had, they're sunglasses now, incognito.
Cool. So all of you have breakfast. Another strange, tense morning. I assume you told Pantheon that this was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So she'll be there with you. At
Is
least
the
in
plan for her to come with us too? Okay.
No. And she tells
'Cause
you
I
that
feel like we.
she's-
Okay.
yeah, she tells you like she can't go near that. She seems very not pleased with this entire situation, but it seems like she trusts you. But the energy is different.
Do you have any advice for us going in there?
Well, no pun intended, the place is a fortress. And Warden Fell, I've worked with him before. He's been around a long time. He can be intense, but I've never found him to be corrupt. It's not like in the old comics. This isn't some horrible place of experimentation and exploitation. It's a place to contain people that can't be contained anywhere else. You're going to be in the vicinity, though I doubt you'll see them, of some of the most dangerous people in the world. But strangely, your proximity to them, given the circumstances, will be safer than it ever would be encountering them anywhere else. I've done this dance before. You'll be let in through some secret special access entryway and be walked straight to where you need to go. The odds of you even seeing anyone else besides the warden, a few guards maybe, and silencer, very small.
Do you have any? Been asking this question a lot, but do you have any suggestions for what we should ask silencer? Something we might have overlooked in talking about it.
I think we all know what we need to know at this point. I can't
Very
imagine
much
adding
so.
anything to the list.
All right. I think we're as prepared as we're ever going to be then. Field trip to prison. Let's go.
Scared straight. Before whenever we like split off from Jeremy, whether it's at the visitor drop off waiting area or at our actual house, I will just check in with him and say, "You gonna be all right by yourself today with everything going on and such?"
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen?
I don't know. That is the question, isn't it? It's what I have on the top of the brain.
You guys are going to prison, so I wouldn't worry about me too much.
I feel like Jeremy's about to do some mischief.
Yeah. Don't do mischief. No
I
mischief
won't do
today.
mischief.
Hey, come on. Don't do some fucking mischief. All right.
And
Have
Pantheon
fun
does
storming
ask,
the castle.
yeah. Pantheon does actually ask you though. She's like, "Is there anything that you'll need, Jeremy? I mean, I'll be around, but I have to continue my discussions today with Fortress and others. But there are a lot of me. So if you need anything, if you want to be training today, anything. But if
So-
not, then I'm happy to give you the day off."
some fucking Nova intervention into this investigation. Nah. Okay. I'll take the day off if you don't mind.
No problem.
I was just messing with you, Pantheon. I love you. I love you.
Okay.
They really do have that very specific troublemaker student, begrudgingly loving teacher energy. It's so good.
As you guys are on your way out, she does stop Bailey specifically when the others have sort of moved out of earshot.
C'est moi?
And she goes, Bailey, I do actually want to apologize for some of the things that I said yesterday. I told you that I see the same seeds, the threads of possibility that I saw in Vitriol. But I saw those things looking back about both of my other students. What I've seen of you, I'm more afraid of losing you than I am of you losing yourself. I'm afraid of getting in your way.
That's it's really nice of you to say. She weirdly, in that moment, almost slips back into the accent. The like southern accent. It's this weird moment. And she goes, a lot of my life has been me not understanding what was happening to me or why it was happening to me, why I was made to do the things that I was trained to do. And a whole lot of information was kept from me for that whole time. And I didn't know how to be a person or how I could take care of myself. Now I'm at this school and more these things are happening to me. And now I have that I don't understand, but now I have people around me who are helping me and I can help them too. But that kind of mystery of why it's all happening and what it's leading to is still there. And that's just true of life. But if there's some way for me to be ready to meet it, there's information that I could have that could prepare me for the day when I have to do something heroic. I want to know that. The others don't have to know that, but if they don't want to, that's their choice, but I want to know that.
Personally, I don't believe in predetermination. I don't believe that Dr. Guest knows everything. I hope that you remember when you're looking at Silencer today. She's not a mirror. She's not a reflection of you or anything you've done. She's not a cautionary tale. She's just another person.
Hey, listen, she's not just another person. She's my older sister.
Well, now we're getting into a place that I don't know how to speak on. But That
Yeah, me
works.
either.
That works too.
BB runs her hand through her hair and kind of tussles it, and she obviously doesn't have the sunglasses on while they're like in the house or whatever, or walking out the door, but she has a look in her eye and hides it with the sunglasses.
Mhm.
And is like, well, hopefully we'll be back in 6 hours or so. It's a lot more information. I'm just glad that I have these two to keep me company, and points at Hairomone and Silhouette.
And you've got a direct line of communication. She taps the little earpiece, the hidden earpiece, and she goes, remember, you've got 5 of me just a couple seconds away.
You would break into prison for us?
Is that a question?
What are they gonna do? Arrest me?
I'd stroll into that place for a hot dog if I thought their food was any good.
Damn. That's why she's our squad leader.
True. Oh,
Then
that's all
again,
very sweet.
officially, I'll get a hot dog somewhere else that's legal. I'll see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
And she turns to Jeremy and she nods and she leaves as well. But as you branch toward the front entrance, she moves to the center of campus.
Gotcha.
And you all step out into this very bright morning. Back out to the front to that same car parked with Hargrove waiting for you. He opens the door, and this time as you step inside, your mother is not there.
Oh,
You guys just have the place to yourself there.
Hargrove, put down the divider.
Of course.
Driver,
And he does
roll
so.
down the partition, please.
Yeah.
Guys, this is Hargrove. He's
Chill as
my
hell.
mom's assistant. Yeah, and chill as hell. And he got me lots of food I wasn't supposed to have growing up.
Officially, I can't confirm that. But
we-
unofficially, it was delicious.
We start driving.
Hargrove, are we going to be returned to campus in this very car?
Well, that's the idea, but I'll be on standby for the day whenever it is you're going to return.
I opened the fridge just to see if they were restocked.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like plenty of stuff in there.
Nice.
If there's something you would prefer for next time, I can always put in an order.
This is the only reason we have to interact with your mother now, is to hang out with Hargrove
True.
and steal from her.
Does anyone have any
true.
music preferences? And he,
Adult sippy cup.
Hell
sure if
yeah.
I know that one. And he like asks for it, and the computer of the car finds it and starts playing like whatever style of music that is to be
And,
decided.
as we pin back on the car as it's driving, full house, going over the Golden Gate Bridge thing, you just hear baby say, Hargrove, have you ever been to prison?
Well, I've driven to several.
But you've never been inside?
No, I don't think your mother would have hired me, knowing her.
That's very fair.
And we're there.
It occurs to you, you guys don't know where you're being driven to. He's driving you through the central skyline. And there's a moment where you do realize what you're approaching. And it's the Arbiter's Tower.
Oh.
Oh no!
Hargrove.
Oh fuck!
Hargrove, no.
And as you pull up, you see that it's actually sectioned off for the day. Like it's not open to the public. It's still being like somewhat reconstructed, the place that was burned. But it looks like it's mostly done. It looks patched up. It's okay. It's just not been reopened to the public yet. And as you step out of the car and he is trying to hide a concerned look, your mother does step out wearing her more sort of traditional formal white, sort of between a pantsuit and a lab coat that she wears. Her hair pulled up and back.
Are you gonna be the one to take us in?
Yes.
Well, there's no time like the present.
Please try not to touch anything. The place isn't quite ready yet. She brings you inside and you see like displays that have plaques that say like, you know, early costume designs, and they're like statues of the arbiters and they're just like burned to cinder, or places where the plaques are just like there's an empty thing there where an exhibit that was presumably destroyed has not been replaced yet.
How long ago was it that it got attacked? By
Not that long ago.
like
a couple weeks.
Couple weeks. Damn.
BB was supposed to be an arbiter, right? That's something we had discussed.
Yes.
She's looking around, just
Judging.
very glad, feeling like she dodged a bullet.
Yeah, it is very strange to see a half-empty monument to these people that you know.
That are also like young, and there's in no way, this is very much a historical museum setup for people who are still just around and haven't been around for too long. Very self-involved.
She brings you to the back of the room. She opens the door with a key card into an office space that is kind of modest, unassuming, and then she scans her hand on a panel that she slides open, and a door that is hidden actually slides open into an elevator. You all step inside and it brings you up, until it opens onto the roof, where you see that there is a helipad up here. I haven't made up a different word for helipad, even though it should be, because it's not really helicopters anymore.
Hoverpad?
But functionally, yeah, something like that.
Ooh, Hoverpad's good.
Hoverpad.
Yeah.
Hoverpad is pretty good. Yeah. It's a hoverpad. Hoverpad is helipad now for a place that has no helicopters, because helicopters are a stupid way to travel. I said it. They got no doors and they have big, huge blades. It's stupid. Why is it shaped like that?
Some of them do have doors.
Oh, okay. Well, the ones that have doors are slightly better, but still stupid. Anyway,
Helicopter fans are quaking right now.
I know. I just shattered the entire helicopter
Shitting
industry.
and crying and thrashing on the floor.
Mr. Helicopter is rolling in his grave.
Mr. Albert Helicopter. Oh man, I hope the person who designed helicopters isn't like actually super awesome.
Oh yeah, let's hope that we didn't just dunk on someone super tight and.
I mean, they're all kind of just like paper clipped, like World War II Germany designs. So if you know what was happening in Germany during those years,
Nothing good, I'll tell you that.
The benefits of having someone who knows things about vehicles. Anyway, this helicopter segue brought to you by Chance Encounters.
Jail time.
You step out onto the hoverpad and you see this sleek, dark gray, just a like half shade under black. Not quite a sort of new car shine on it. This thing looks like it's designed to sort of look like a bird from a distance if it's flying high enough. And it does have sort of wings that come up and then crimp down like a bird in flight. and it points up and down in the front. And she walks you over to it. It's on landing struts at the moment. You see that the engines underneath are repulsors.
Wait, is this my mom's PJ, like private jet?
Seems that way.
Fuck off.
You've probably seen one of these things before. It's not
I
very
know.
big. It's really not very big.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like the size of a bus. And the door slides open and the ramp comes down. It seems like she doesn't really have much to say today. She just has this stony, sort of statuesque, cold demeanor that you're so used to. But now there's an element of detachment there as well. She waits for you all to board before she does.
Can I like roll insight on her to see her vibe?
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. Let's suss the vibe.
I get what is that? Is that willpower or intelligence?
Willpower.
Okay, BB's awful at that. So,
Oh, I'm kind of bad too because I don't really know her that well. I only got one.
2 out of 1, baby.
That makes
Okay.
sense. She is your mother.
True.
Is she interested in hiding it right now? No, she's not. So, outstanding success. I'm not entirely sure how BB internalizes this.
Okay.
But there is something that feels genuinely concerned and protective to you. And it's manifesting in a way that's like, I need to be apart from this and not show that I am worried about what's about to happen. But you see glances in your direction. You see, even though she's detached, there is a certain proximity applied, like she's afraid that you're going to fall off the edge of the building.
I think BB sees that and feels as if she wants to believe that that concern is genuinely about her, but thinks that it's rather that Tara's built this house of cards and now BB's standing at the top and is either going to knock it down or fall down with it.
Mhm.
We'll see.
So you step up into this bird-like vehicle. And the inside is not too dissimilar from the limousine, except it's not like stocked with supplies that are just out. But the seats are a functional sort of leather, sort of lined up in a square surrounding the walls. There's a compartment that leads to the back where
Deeply
presumably there's, like,
utilitarian.
engineering or something that could happen back there, probably like a bathroom. And you can see that there is a separator, like an entire door that, much like on an airplane, that can separate the cockpit, but it's currently open and there's no one in here. There's not even like any sort of robot piloting situation. She sits in the pilot's seat. She looks back to sort of make sure that everyone is strapped in.
Hairomone was trying their best not to give away how much they fucking hate flying, but then they see that she's gonna be flying the plane and she just like death grips on BB's hand.
BB squeezes back and goes, do you want me to go up there and sit with her or stay here?
No, it's fine. She wouldn't kill us. She wouldn't kill
No.
us.
That would be the
But holy shit.
very unwise choice.
Holy shit.
There's
We'll get
something so effortless about the way that she operates the controls. It's almost like all of that you were detecting before seems to fall away as she clicks her mind into focusing on this task that is like automatic for her. and it very smoothly rises up off of the hover pad. And you, again, have probably ridden in something akin to this, but everyone else, it would be a very new experience because the hovering vehicles, the one, for example, that took you to Nova Skybase, had just a little more grit to it. You could feel it a little more. This thing, you can't feel that you're in it. It makes hardly any sound.
That's weird. It's really weirdly off-putting.
How is this thing even legal? Okay.
And she begins to fly. And this thing has some speed to it. She's not trying to attract attention, but she kind of goes up pretty high. And it's probably about, in this thing, maybe only a 45-minute ride, if that, before you start to see that northern isle come into view. First, you can see the bridge at the edge of the central island of the first city that has a lot of structures around either side of it, because it's not just, the public is just going across all the time, It's very heavily monitored. And you see that bridge, and then you see other structures far removed from the shimmering spires and interconnected sky lanes and mag rails of the first city that you're accustomed to. You see much more sort of segregated clusters of buildings that are tall, squared off, built for function, not to look any particular way other than uniform enough that you can't immediately identify which thing is which kind of thing. But as you start to descend through the clouds, and the place is less of a sort of aerial map and more detailed to your vision out the windows, you see that Blackstone Prison is coming into view. A huge coalition of shapes and structures at play here. It's built overlooking the cliffside. It's on the very edge of, like, looking down over the shoreline. There is a large gate and a wall surrounding the entire space. You see that there are internal courtyards separating, like between different areas. There are outdoor areas and towers with guards dressed all in black with hints of silver denoting their rank and status. Most of them carrying on their back, usually, a weapon that is shaped like a gun, but BB, to be something that is more tech-based. It doesn't fire bullets. It's like compressed, stunning energy.
Like a literal stun gun.
Yeah. These guards do seem to be, for the most part, just stationed in specific areas, not so much patrolling, but there's enough of them that they're covering the entire grounds. You feel like you can make out areas where cameras are placed, not particularly discreetly. You don't see a lot of inmates just out and about, but you do see a sort of diversity of staff. There are people in medical wear who are moving equipment from place to place. You see a distinctive hospital area, an entire medical wing, and you see what you can assume are some sort of barracks for the people who work here. It's almost like its own strange sort of village, in a manner of speaking. These interconnected locations. But at the center of all of it is the penitentiary itself. A huge square structure at the heart of all of this. And there are what look to be rectangular tower-like structures that are on each of the four corners of this huge prism of a prison. And you land atop one of these towers that, as you get closer, you see are pretty wide. And it gets wider at the top because there are hover pads on top of these things. And you see, even as you're landing out the front window, there's a man coming into view who is standing almost perfectly still, waiting, watching, looking up.
T-posing.
You see a man in his probably 50s with silver hair tied back into a ponytail that falls kind of midway down his back, a very angular, close-cropped silver beard. His skin looks like, it looks as though he's like taking care of his skin to like such a degree that he is an aging man. He's an older man who is incredibly well kept. He looks like every piece of himself, much like your mother in this way, is curated to some degree. And he also is wearing a white outfit, but he's wearing a white suit. There's nothing medical about it. But there isn't really a collar like we understand it in our like current present day terms of like what a suit collar looks like, how it kind of comes down in that like the two sort of triangles and then arching down toward the stomach. It doesn't really do that. It just sort of comes up and then naturally rigidly pops into a sort of half-popped collar that wraps around the back of his neck. And this white suit that he's wearing actually flares out at the bottom like a coat. It's like a long fitted blazer that is like a blazer peacoat. And as this vehicle descends and he stands there with this golden cane, almost scepter-like, that he holds, resting his both hands on top of it, looking up with these round gold-tinted glasses as he looks up at you, his coat sort of blowing. He just waits.
If we're in a position to get out, I would start heading towards the door to meet him.
You see the
Phoebe
door
would like immediately put out her hand. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the door doesn't immediately open until Tara opens it, and she distinctly takes a position in front of you, and she looks back to the three of you and goes, "At least for the moment, follow my lead. Try to comport yourself in front of this man."
Hate that, but okay.
And the door opens, and she walks you over to him. She doesn't nod or reach out to shake his hand, but you do. And
I do.
Yeah, okay. And his head swivels over to you, and then he does smile, not like a creepy or forced smile, like it that does genuinely like seem to please him. And he removes the glasses, revealing, I'm going to say he has one almost orangey gold eye and one blue.
Sick. That's dope.
And before he reaches out to take your hand as he smiles at you, he does make a point to remove his glasses and really look at you directly in the eyes. Like the eye contact comes immediately. And he takes a hand off of his cane and he does shake your hand, and you feel a very warm, smooth hand. Again, like this is a man who seems to like moisturize and take care of his skin to a very extreme degree.
Oh, honey, got those soft hands. I go, my name is Bailey Baker. Thank you for allowing me and my team the opportunity to come here and interview.
You see, as you say your name, there is this flash of like your mother's eyes kind of go like, she was not expecting you to do that.
Oh, man.
And he is taken aback as well. And he seems a man who allows his emotional reactions to things to be at the surface. And he kind of cocks his head back slightly, raises his eyebrows, and looks at your mother and back to you, Miss Baker. Well, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I certainly wasn't expecting our guests to be so, shall I say, esteemed.
Oh, you don't need to hold me in very much regard. I'm just here to do my job. We're here to do our job.
Well, that is certainly a very interesting phrasing, your job. And
Or be of help, I guess. That's our job.
Tara cuts in at that point, and she goes, well, it is certainly all of our jobs and obligations at this time to do our best to understand what's happening here. And if my team is able to, shall we say, extract information from the silencer that others, including ourselves, have before now been unable to obtain, well, I suppose that would be our jobs. Consider it an affirmation that I do not bring these people here lightly, that they also consider it the highest responsibility. And the warden laughs. Well, I have no doubt that you would never bring anyone here lightly. And this is a particularly dangerous subject. Please, let us walk and talk. I won't ask for introductions. I'll assume that they'll be given freely if they're desired, but we all are aware of the world we live in, and to conceal your identity is your choice, especially as representatives of the Power Development Program.
Oh, this is a whole different can of worms that I did not anticipate.
I don't think
Ooh.
Hairomone can I don't think Hairomone can hide the fact that they're like they start like chewing their cheek at that.
That's, yeah, I think BB falters in her steps, then keeps walking. As we walk in just through the halls, can I do an intelligence check just to see if I see any cells with famous supervillains inside? The famous supervillains inside.
Let me first describe the route that's being taken.
Stood on the way out, maybe. If it feels right.
Because he walks you over to the center of the platform, really. And you notice that it is almost like a crosshair that is designed at the top here. And at the center where he stands, he clicks his walking stick, his cane, into place and like turns it in a divot and then removes it. And you see a small sort of pillar rises up and then extends sort of out in a semicircle around him, and it scans him full body. And as it does so, he types something in and he goes, "Don't worry, we won't be scanning any of you. This door only opens to me and, shall we say, only allows as many people as I allow in at a time."
Wish I had a door like that at home.
Well, I'm surprised you don't, given your parentage.
you know,
Jesus.
can't be too nepotistic.
No, you certainly can't.
Yeah, it seems between me and my sister, my mom tends to have pretty rotten luck with children. And she'll take off her sunglasses and kind of put them in her shirt pocket, jacket pocket.
He looks at you for a hard moment, and you see something that very clearly looks like the satisfaction of a suspicion being confirmed. And you see your mom squirm, and it's hard to get all the way there.
Yeah.
But she's like,
hell yeah.
There are fumes, and the
We're already in the
platform,
building, baby. You can't stop this hour interview coming.
the platform begins to descend. It becomes an elevator under your feet. And as it does descend down to the ground floor, during that sort of span of time, the warden says, well, then this should be a very interesting day. I hope you know, young Miss Baker, that information does not leave this facility. In fact, it does not leave this elevator until, of course, those in the position to make such a decision decree it so. And he looks back at Tara Baker and then back to you.
Yeah, I said that with the utmost faith that, you know, you are the warden of this facility and you'll keep all those matters internal. But I look forward to, I'm sure, working with you more in the future.
As do I. I can't say as I've heard much of you before, but now that you're here, I don't think it presumptuous to say that I foresee great things.
Smiles at her mom and goes, you can count on that.
And as you reach the ground floor and the elevator door opens, you see that it opens into another closed door that he has to scan open. And it looks like a piece of wall slides aside, and you step out directly into the observation room outside of a long corridor.
Whoa.
He just beelined you to where you needed to be. Exactly as
Sick.
Pantheon said. Unsurprising to you that she would know what she's talking about when it comes to this.
Yeah.
And you can, I imagine, staring down this corridor, even just through the window before he opens the door and begins to walk you down it, you can sort of cast your mind down a corridor of its own, of going backwards through the history of heroes and then through the history of heroes in fiction, the template for how hero society was built, fiction. And all the moments you've imagined, the template you can slot into of heroes confronting their nemesis behind prison glass, your own sort of Silence of the Lambs moment. You've imagined it in so many different contexts, I can only imagine. How are you feeling now to actually be here, knowing what's coming?
Huh. I mean, I think it is a surreal moment for all the reasons that you outlined, but I think that there is a feeling as well of like, finally some answers. Finally, I'm in the position where I can ask all the questions that I've been trying to ask and been shut down on over the past few months to someone who's probably going to try to shoot me straight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there is, as much as the silencer, she's scared of the silencer, and like, they definitely seem unhinged. I think there's a part of her that does want to be like, I'll show you. I'll show you in the scene.
Not going to reveal it now.
Mm-mm.
He says, as you begin to make your way down this corridor, you see each individual cell does not have the ability to see inside unless it's opened. There are guards periodically moving between cells, but you don't get much of a glimpse of anything inside because they're almost like big sliding garage doors in a sense of some kind of solid steel, some hard alloy, and you can see places that can be programmed. You see panels that can open up slots, like windowed slots or slots to slide food in, which you probably see some people doing because it's basically noon. And he says, I must assure you that you'll be perfectly safe during your conversation. We've taken the liberty of placing, well, barriers in the area that you're going to be, sound dampening technology I'm sure that you're familiar with, and what we like to call the portable wall. You'll see. We can create on the fly isolated communications between you and an inmate's cell. There will be a energy barrier between you and her. Her powers in general, when she is being moved, are dampened by, well, I don't want to bore you with the technological details, but her shackles discourage her from the use of her powers. But that won't be necessary. Not while she's inside. There will be no recording as requested, and you will have 1 hour. If there's anything else you'd like to know before we begin, and you notice that he's stopped now at the very end of this corridor, and you see that there is this big steel sliding wall. Everything is closed. You can't see inside it. His hand is hovering over the terminal to prepare for what's about to happen. You've noticed the cameras segmented in front of each cell, and you can see a blinking light to indicate that they're on and they're swiveling. This one is, there's no light, and it's just, there's probably even a cap over the lens to like give you as much assurance as possible that the warden has made good on his promise.
I think people will just say, no, thank you for keeping this private and getting us to this point.
Very well.
People will look over at Hairomone and so and be like, do you have any questions?
I have a general question. When I tried to cheat in the blackjack fight and I could tell it wasn't going to work, how did I know that?
That it wasn't, that cheating wasn't going to work?
That like using your little earpieces wasn't going to work.
Ooh, okay. Remembering back to that, I think there was
Is there like a little like thing in the earpiece that like alerts you if, like the connection isn't viable or something like that? Like,
yeah, I feel that I would have to like rewatch the episode, but I believe that you may have tried and just got like a dead signal.
yeah.
And then realized that at the corners of the ring, it's very distinctly like the field that is used to surround the ring does that.
But what I'm saying is, if I can, when we're using these, you can tell when they're dead, quote unquote.
Yeah, you
but
don't
when
hear
they won't
feedback.
connect.
There's no like dead channel sound or anything.
So I'm going to scratch my ear and see what happens there?
Nothing.
Nothing. So they're also blocking communications out. They're not, the earpieces are not going to work.
Oh no, the earpieces are. When you said I scratch my ear, I don't think I understood the subtext. You scratch your ear.
The
What are you doing with
subtext-
the thing?
The subtext is I'm scratching my ear, pretending to think about questions that BB just asked me, but actually like turning on the earpiece and connecting it to Pantheon.
Right. Like when I say nothing happens, I mean like nothing suspect happens. It's not, you haven't said anything, so it's just
But
like
my question,
yeah.
my question is, do the earpieces work in
Yes.
this moment?
Yes.
Pantheon will be able to hear what's
Yes.
going on.
Yes. Good call.
There's no way to contact Wi-Fi right now, I don't think. So recording it just for us, just for moonlight purposes is not
Mhm.
viable. But at least Pantheon will have a live feed of what we're talking about. That's fine. To answer BB's question, which was, are we ready? Is that what? Or is there anything else we want to ask?
Do you guys have any questions? Are we ready?
I don't think so. I'm just gonna note that the whole time we're in here, Hairomone is looking out for irregular shadows.
I will say to both Herma and Silhouette, like, if at any point there's a question that I'm not asking that you think should be asked, go for it. I don't want to be the one doing all the talking.
Okay. Well then, when you're ready, I've programmed everything. Dr. Baker, if you'd be so kind as to accompany me. She looks back at you with this like, and then turns, sort of keeping an eye on what's happening all the way, as you see that he has like a portable sort of connection device with this entire area. He could probably operate everything remotely if he wanted to. And you see that a wall slots out from the corridor and creates an isolation booth between the far wall and the edge of the cell.
That's sick.
And you see that the touchpad in front of the cell is waiting idle for someone to activate, to open the cell.
And when the portable wall goes into effect, the earpieces still are working.
Yeah.
Okay.
BB touches the panel to make it go.
You do so, and you hear this slight creak as this huge steel wall just slides to the other side, past where the separating wall is. And behind it is a shimmering, translucent force field being projected by your side, so it couldn't be affected from inside where she is. And you see a very simply furnished cell. There's a couch that's actually kind of plush. It's not really like a hard, flat surface. You see some books stacked up on a side table. You do see that there is like a toilet, but she is sitting on a stool facing away from you. You see her orange jumpsuit. Her hands are not shackled at the moment because, again, there's nothing for her to do any harm to in here. You see an alloy inside that is vaguely familiar to you. And you're pretty confident that she could only hurt herself by shooting in this cell. And you see that familiar shaved head that she has, but it's grown out just a little bit now. The same color as yours. And her head slowly turns back. Her blue eyes meet yours. and you see a faintly scarred around the edges of her mouth. Just turn into a wide smile as she says, "Hi, big sister." And on that, we're going to intercut over to Jeremy.
Yay, Jeremy. Hell yeah.
I want to know the first step of what Jeremy's plan is today, because I know we've discussed that Jeremy's doing some stuff, knowing what's going to
Jeremy's
happen
big
today.
day out.
So if you want to start like pre-noon, if you want to start with like if he's prepping.
I think that Jeremy, he started out like he walked the rest of Team Pantheon to the car, and he like waved them goodbye, and then when they like took off, he waited like a little bit, and then he like walked out and then walked towards like the main tram into First City downtown proper, and he's like wearing clothes as one would, but he's wearing like a sweater, and he's got his like holographic glasses, but he's also got some voice crack. He's also got like a backpack on his back that he's walking around with. Yeah, and he'll make his way onto the thing, and it takes a little bit from like the main trolley, whatever thing, to get into the center of First City proper, right?
Yeah, I mean, a bit. When you say center, do you mean like the core sort of skyline?
Yeah.
Because Moonlight Academy is near that anyway.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Then like the more northern part, that's where he'll go. But I think that while he's just kind of waiting there, just thinking about things, I think he'll go back, and then he'll just like instantly go pale. Like even under the hologram, you can tell that he's gone a pale color. And I think I like to imagine that these trams have like bathrooms on them.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And that they have like some sort of sound dampening things, not as intense as other things, but just so people don't have to hear other people taking a dump. But he'll go
That's
in
a future
there.
I want, yeah.
He'll go in there and he'll close the door and he'll call Pantheon, because he may just be doing crazy conspiracy things, but he's put some things together that he does not like. Does Pantheon pick up?
Yeah. Hey, what's going
on? So I was just thinking, I haven't really had time to think about this because I've had a lot on my mind, but when I woke up, Dr. Fear had broken out, right?
Father Fear? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you run me through how that happened again?
Yeah. You raise a very fine point, and I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Father Fear escaped because he was being transferred, but the transfer request, the warden didn't remember approving. But he had.
And one of the last places that Vitriol spent his days was in Blackstone, right?
That's true. He was held there until his execution.
I think maybe if you can send a covert message to them to be careful what they share with the warden and anyone in Blackstone, and maybe split off 4 of yourself to just be on point in case.
Good thinking. I can't believe I didn't think of this.
Oh, I'm just crazy with the conspiracy theories. Don't worry, I got paranoia for 2.
I mean,
or 6.
even the driver who was transporting Father Fear afterwards said that he believed he was taking the most direct route, which was patently false. I mean, if he was planted this many years in advance to do something so specific, that seems, I don't know what it seems like. There are too many moving pieces here, but you're right, I'll warn them.
Just keep at least one of them on campus, but definitely just covertly. I can't get there anytime soon just because I can't really do move fast stuff, but I think that just in case stuff pops off.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she does, I think this actually happens sooner for sure. Like it happened somewhere, because if this was like one of the first things you did, it's like 11-ish, maybe like an hour into them being gone, or
Yeah.
sooner, do you think?
Because
They left at 10.
Yeah, I think about 11. I'd like to imagine that either like when they landed on the helipad or when they like just were going to like open the door to see Silencer, that's when they'd be beeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, like after they'd already interacted with the warden.
Yeah,
I like that. That's juicier.
Because it took him a little bit of doing. He had to.
Mm-hmm.
He was just, yep.
Thinking with portals here, Ben.
Fuck.
All right. So yeah. So that's your kind of first step, or is there what's the destination?
The destination is a special spot around where the north of Subterra Neon is.
Okay.
I think that you know what
I do.
referring to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's heading there first. And he's also as soon as he like strode off to the train station, he turned on Wi-Fi's like special anti-hack, anti-location thing.
Yes. Okay. So as we see, I want to get, if you want this revealed, I think it's kind of a good moment for it. If you want to paint for the viewers what it looks like when he enters this place, what we see where he goes, that's the button that I'll intercut back.
Actually, I think it'll be juicier if we, viewers, you're gonna wait a little bit more.
Okay.
Keep watching the episode, but from that special location, he'll start navigating throughout the sewers, making zigzags to his next location.
Okay. So as you begin to navigate through the sewers beneath the city, that is where we will intercut back. Silencer turns around.
Oh, real quick. I just want to say that he is definitely using his flame powers to create like a little shield to keep the stinky away from him.
Mm-hmm.
No stinky sewer.
Yeah. So the Silencer turns completely around in her chair before she stands up. And she takes a few steps forward and she's like beaming. And she says, I knew you would come.
When I got such a nice invitation, I figured, why not?
You're always welcome to come play in my room. I mean, isn't that what sisters do? That's what I read. I guess I wouldn't really know from firsthand experience, would I?
I'm glad you can read. I used to not like to read, but I've been doing a lot more of that recently. School, and also just wanting to learn.
Right.
But what do you want to talk about? Do you want to swap some secrets? Because we're sisters.
You read my mind. Well, it seems like you're not particularly interested in small talk, but I do want to make sure. Has she heard the name Hairomone?
I have no idea. That would
we-
require knowledge of volume 1, which
Mhm.
is a long past.
We yelled our names
From
in
you
combat quite a few times.
Yeah.
I think it's tastier if she does know the hero names.
Hairomone, how's your belly?
Sexy as ever.
I'm inclined to agree. I hope you know I wasn't trying to kill you. How many people do you know took a point blank shot to the stomach that missed all vital organs? Coincidence?
No. But I'm not going to say thank you.
I wouldn't expect you to. No, I was going through something. Growing pains, as it were, I guess. But I've had a change of outlook recently.
I hear it's hard being, like the 3, 4, 5 range is a hard time to be a child. So
it's true.
shit.
It's true. I've had to absorb a lot of information in a very short time. And I'd like to know more about the world, yours and mine. See, I want to be a hero too. Oh, I want to be just like you.
BB hears that, and I sees the kind of sneer on Silencer's face, but that was really what she wanted to ask was, do you want to get out of here? Do you want to live your life?
Huh. Would you believe that I haven't really thought much about it? It would be nice. I'm exploring options right now. I find myself out of a job, and someday I'll be out of here. I mean, sure, I killed a man, but you've got another one of them out there somewhere. So it's not a huge net loss. Might even not count as murder, technically. I'm joking, kind of.
No, it definitely was a murder.
There are a lot of things I know, and there are a lot of things I know that you want to know. We're going to need a system of organization. See, in my talks with the other inmates, my sort of learning how to open up, you see, you structure productive conversation, set boundaries, guidelines, right? So let's do that, okay?
Okay, what are the rules?
You ask me a question, I ask you a question. Simple, right? I think that'd be the most fun.
Pretty straightforward.
Mhm. Yeah.
First question. Who were you taking orders from?
My previous employer was, as far as I know, my creator, or at least the one who executed it. The science, we all know who that came from.
We certainly do. But does this person have a name or a secret identity?
The phrasing is funny. I'll tell you why. His appearance was different every time I saw him. One day he'd look like one person. The next day, he'd look like someone else. A director, for example. So I never knew what his true appearance was. But he called himself Dr. Fine. Fein. A scientist, a visionary, or at least he thinks so. With a very curious set of skills. It was his orders, if you want to call them that I was acting on at first, though. As it turns out, patience isn't one of my virtues. I may have been sent to deal with Jeremy too.
JJ.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, he was.
But I got distracted. As soon as
By
I
what?
saw you.
Hmm.
I mean, how could I not want to meet my real family? I think
Real
that's
family is not all it's cracked up to be, but I understand that sentiment or idea or whatever. I think it's your turn to ask a question.
Well, Silencer is it's a good name for me, but that's a name for a villain. It's a name that's not a name. And if you want anything out of me, I'm going to need you to give me a real one. Ordinarily, it would be the job of our mother, but I'm not interested in anything she has to offer me. No, I want it to come from you. I can't think of it myself. Nobody names themselves.
Blatantly untrue, but
Oh,
Mhm.
I know this. I know this is me.
Why wouldn't you want to name yourself?
I want to be named by family.
Hold on. I need to look up some names real quick.
I know we had discussed
Pinocchio.
Phoebe, but I can't remember if that was in character or out of character.
I think if we see BB start to think, she says, "Oh, you don't need to come up with it now. No, it should take some thought, some consideration. I just want to know. I want to hear from you. I want you to promise me that you will."
Well,
See, my trial is soon, and if they kill me, I don't want it to say Silencer on my grave. Assuming they give me a grave. They should. I'm a person.
you are a person. I'm
So
glad
you'll
that-
do it.
Yeah, I will. And I'll tell you as soon as I can, but it's got to be good, right?
That makes me happy.
Out of character, what are the other questions that who are you working for? Oh, I never mind. I know what to ask. What is your first memory? Do you remember being born? Or do you remember waking up as I don't know, me at a certain age?
Chronologically, memory becomes a very interesting thing for me. It's at the root of everything, all of this. It all comes back to memory. You've analyzed, what'd you call him, JJ? You saw his deterioration, where it came from. She taps her temple. You given much thought to that? The memory center. Boiled the poor boy alive. Not me, though. No. You asked me before who I was working for, Dr. Fine. I know you're going to ask why, so I can give you a bonus answer if you'd like. See, you remember when I said he had a very curious set of skills?
Mm-hmm.
People in this city have such an unbalanced view of the nature of their powers. Did you ever realize that? You try to ground it in science, but it's something you all don't understand. Out there, she sort of frantically looks around like she's looking for a way to know like where north, south, east, and west are. Out there, out in the rest of the world. There are places where people understand a little better that we don't understand. And Dr. Fine, he's one of those people. Because his ability, well, I'm not sure that science really cuts it. He can unlock memories. Not just yours, not just things you've forgotten, but memories of your ancestors. Floating around in your blood, bloop, bloop, bloop. He can give you that. And in the case of, well, people like me and JJ, our ancestors are, well, mine is you. But there is a tendency for one to reject the process. In our case, anyway. JJ paid the price for that.
But you survived.
Well, Dr. Fine tried to give him the full weight of Jeremy's memory. But those memories, well, those memories are a square block, and JJ's mind was a circular hole. The template's there, you can fit it. The hole is big enough for the block. But the edges, well, they scrape. Those memories weren't his. And his body paid for it. So did his mind, technically. It's all in there. But see, me, I was only given a small taste. A surface taste of your memories. Just enough. Enough to know the heart of what you need, what we both need to be a family. Enough to know that my real purpose is to help you. See, I know you want to do it. I saw it in our fight. But you could never do it yourself. See, I understand. And she steps up so that her face is as close to the static as it can be, and her eyebrows almost seem to raise slightly in proximity to that static. You and I will never, never be a real family. Until Mommy Dearest is dead. You may not agree. That's okay. You'll forgive me eventually, when you see how much happier you'll be. That's my goal. If I get out of here, my gift to you. I promise you that.
I mean, I'll ask another question, but if you have one, feel free to shoot. I think I have one more after that.
Another question for me. Well, I guess I would just like to know. Do you trust Pantheon?
Hairomone looks very intently at BB.
I know there are reasons why I shouldn't, but I do.
Well, I have it on good authority that maybe you shouldn't. Don't pretend like she's your family. She's not our real mother. She's not a replacement for something we don't have. We can't have that. We can have each other, okay? You and me. And you too. Both of you. She looks at Hairomone and Silhouette. We can all be a team, a family.
It's not going to happen.
Okay, well, I don't know what it is, but she's keeping something from you. Something important.
She's kept a lot of important things from us, so it's really just par for the course.
You still love her?
People have their reasons for doing the things that they do, and you have to understand that within the context of who they are.
Interesting. Because it's all the things that Dr. Fine kept from me that he didn't trust me with that led to my severance. Yeah. Yeah, see, I didn't want to work for someone who didn't trust me completely anymore. No. Once I knew that you were really there for me, why would I waste my time with him? I was just a tool for him. But I think he's just a tool for someone else.
BB has struggled through this meeting in a way that I don't think she was ready for, and is really trying to kind of walk through this labyrinth, but doesn't really know where it ends or where it starts or what to ask or how to feel.
Mm-hmm.
But she puts her hands in her hands. Yeah, head in her hands for a second. She pulls it away and she goes, I've been asking this question a lot, but as you've sat in here over the past few weeks, and you've asked to see me over and over and over again, what is the one question you've been hoping I would ask you?
Well, I've been a part of this intricate little mystery, but that doesn't mean I know what it's all about. I was doing my job for a carrot dangled in front of my face, the promise that should Dr. Fine's experiments succeed, he would find a way to give me all of your memories. But meeting you is how I realized that I don't want your memories. I don't want to be you. I want to be yours. So, I guess I'm hoping that you'll ask me the right questions, the questions that get to the heart of the things that I do know, so we can figure out the rest together. I mean, I was a part of the machine, but I don't know what it was powering, and I'd like to. It's okay. Take whatever time you need. I know you have all the pieces. And Silhouette fully interrupts her. And Silhouette says, who's making the shadows?
Fucking let's go.
Is that in
Let's
character?
go.
Yes.
Mine isn't in character.
I was gonna say a little bit like more like wow, cool way, but yeah.
When you do that though, Silhouette is sort of almost upsettingly close to the force field, and she is just like,
Yeah.
she's done. She is somewhere else, and she doesn't even register that you're doing this.
Are you friends with your shadow?
My shadow, no.
Hmm.
I mean, my shadow is just a shadow. No. Though I know someone, or I knew someone with a fun shadow. And so do you. Well, you know the shadow. Little girl named Kate.
Oh. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Though when I found her, she didn't know the shadow was hers. Yeah, it's a mixed bag out there. Different beliefs, of course. And, well, no one has ever really conceived of a power that involves some other sentient being that acts of its own free will. Her shadow would lash out, acting on instinct to protect her. So it's no surprise that the people in her community, I say community loosely, it's a place where, you know, people who don't really have a family try to find one. Out there in the wilds. They thought that she was guarded by some demon, some thing, some alien force. They all had different names for it, but they were afraid of her. She was too young. She didn't know. So she let them convince her of that. She was scared of her own power. Dr. Fine, well, he tried to put that power to good use. And he did for a time, but once Asher got onto the trail, he ordered me to leave her a little gift. So I did. What we didn't account for, or, well, not me, I wasn't really accounting for anything. What Dr. Fine didn't account for is that Kate's shadow is something else. Something exciting. To this day, we don't know what. But when she died, it was untethered, unfocused. And it seems to me it was tracing roots of things that she might know, following pieces of root instinct left over from her, but our best guess, really, is that the thing has really just started going feral, doing whatever it likes.
So then why would it show up at our fight?
That's a good question. One I don't have the answer to.
Hmm.
I mean, if it's still acting on some sort of instinct from her, you know, left over, maybe it has a rough idea of where to go, interconnected people, places, concepts, but then loses sight of why it's there and just lashes out. That's possible. But without knowing even what this thing is, how that power works, well,
Does the word, concept, image, anything of negative infinity mean anything to you?
I thought that was the bonus content. You really have been digging, haven't you? I don't know much. But there are whispers. I've seen a symbol scrawled in notebooks when pencils are allowed. Something some of the inmates who have been here a little bit longer speak of. Mostly rumors, really. But I'm inclined to believe it. I mean, whenever I'm being worked on or examined, I'm sedated first before I'm brought where I'm going. And I don't know, I always wake up with the vague sensation that I've been somewhere colder than I remember being. So the idea that there's something underneath this place where the more discreet operations need to take place is not shocking to me. Do I have evidence beyond the circumstantial? No. But it's fun to think about.
Have you ever interacted with my mom beyond the day that we all met?
Have I interacted with her personally? No. Certainly not. But I've seen enough of your early childhood memories to feel like I have.
Yeah, she sucks.
And I know a secret about her that I bet you don't.
And how would you know that?
Well, because the good doctor told me. Well, I guess he's a bad doctor. This whole spectrum of hero to villain is frankly pretty new to me.
Quite the gradient. Can we do you care to enlighten us as to what the secret is?
This is the question I was hoping you would ask me. Maybe now you'll understand. And maybe you'll forgive me when I kill her. See, back when she first pitched Project Recreate, it was rejected offhand. Alma wasn't ready for human cloning experimentation. But after Vitriol's display, things changed. Perceptions changed. And the idea of recreating powers, having them at the ready to give to anyone, became more appealing. But Mommy Dearest wasn't prepared to waste millions of dollars and resources and time on a project she didn't know was going to work. So the first time around, after a crushing rejection, she chose herself as her first test subject. And she had a lovely couple of scientists in her pocket. You might know them, a Mr. and Mrs. Johnson.
Yep.
Experiment in a secret facility, well outside the first city, not within Alma's territories at all, in fact. Making clones of her, in a way, almost our older sisters. Though I try not to think of them too fondly. I mean, none of them survived. Well, they survived the experiments. They survived their creation. But she had the Johnsons, shall we say, medically dispose of them after the experiment was proven a success. So, later on, when Project Recreate was approved, well, there was no net loss. She already knew it was going to work. Not that the powers would be recreated. As far as she knows, that was never a success. But gotta hand it to her. She did pioneer the technology that made me possible. I think I'm just a little more than she bargained for. I can't help but wonder what she feels when she sees me. It's one of the things that helps me fall asleep at night. The disgust on her face when she saw that her precious daughter that she treats like garbage. No, you're not garbage. I'm sorry. No, you have to take out garbage. She kept you all to herself, didn't she?
You have my memories. You tell me.
Only a few. The easiest to access. Surface, raw emotions.
That'll be enough.
For me, it is. Now, it wasn't before. I can't give you evidence that anything I'm saying is true, but it's all there in the facility. That's where I worked, by the way, and that's where Dr. Fine is.
And the location.
Oh, no. No, I'm not telling you that. I'm sorry. I do know. I do. But I want her to tell you.
I think I might have an idea.
Plus,
Um,
you gotta keep a little leverage for yourself, right?
No, that hurts. I don't want power over you. I don't want leverage. That's not a healthy relationship.
what do you want? A family? And Bibi doesn't say that unkindly.
In the end, I think I want the same thing that Dr. Fine did. Just want to go about it a little differently. I want to make a better world.
I think you can. But that doesn't start with killing my mom. Our mom. And if you do that, I'll never be your sister. Making a better world means helping people, not hurting people. If you ever want a family, I'm trying to build one. And it's going well. But until the point where you are fully yourself with your own dreams and goals that are actually about helping the world and not just bending the world to your will, which I'm sure is what Dr. Fine is doing. Until you are yourself, we can't be family. But I can give you a name if you want.
She perks up.
How about Constance Baker?
Constance. It's beautiful. I knew you would do it. I knew. I don't deserve it. I mean, I haven't been constant. My goal's inconsistent. But now I will be. I know what I have to do. Whether you agree with me or not, family's complicated. But you'll come around.
I almost certainly won't, to your way of thinking. And if I see you make moves against my mom, I will take you down. I wouldn't kill you, because I don't do that. But you'll be right back here, or in a hospital bed. And that's it. Just figure yourself out first.
With or without me, without her, you'll meet your full potential. And I can't imagine a better world than one where Bang Bang is a real hero. I have nothing else to ask you, but I think our time is running a little. She says this because she's watching Silhouette periodically, like, check her watch and back. And as she says that, Silhouette kind of kicks herself. She grinds her teeth and she like tucks her hand in a pocket.
Any last words from any of us?
No.
Phoebe stares at Constance. And sees the features that are similar, but knows that they're not the same person. I think she really does believe that Constance can change. I hope that we can talk again sometime.
I'd like that. Hey, maybe you can come to my trial. In disguise, of course.
Maybe I'll be there. We'll see.
The way I hear tell, it could be a very interesting one.
Well, you're a pretty interesting person, so I have no doubt. Don't kill anyone. Don't hurt anyone.
How could I?
Yeah. And I think BB stands up.
Before you go, there is one thing you forgot to ask about. I did bring Jeremy.
What?
Interrupted his meeting with Asher. Brought him to Dr. Fine.
Oh.
I don't know what happened next, but I know you were wondering. Or have you already forgotten?
What have we forgotten?
About the real Jeremy. Where he
No.
is, what he's doing. Isn't that a huge part of this mystery? I mean, I might have been one of the last people to see him.
You might have been. Who knows? Maybe that's just going to be another mystery.
Good luck talking to Mom. I really hope she tells you what you need to hear.
I hope you have fun eating dinner in your room.
I think it's Salisbury steak tonight, so yeah, I'm good. I had a good day.
That's fucking terrifying. That's Eric saying that. BB puts her hands in her jacket pocket and trudges out and does the thing. Unless the door has kind of a handle on it, she'll do the thing where she just like throws her body against the door to open it.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely open it.
Yeah.
And as you're walking away, just before the door slides all the way shut again, the door to her cell, you just hear her say, "Love you," and it's cut off.
God, that's sad. Fuck me. Oh, but she killed JJ. I need to keep and shot Hairomone. I need to keep reminding myself that.
And killed Kate, a child.
Yeah, killed. Yeah, she's killed a lot of people. But she's in jail now. All right. What do we think, gang? I guess we're just standing outside of the cell waiting to be rejoined by everyone else.
Silhouette goes, "I think I want to go home."
Me too. That was far less pleasant than I was thinking it was going to be, and I already wasn't expecting it to be pleasant.
Where are we right now?
I think we're
Back
right
out in the
outside the
corridor.
cell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, we're not. Okay, so we're the silent zone. We're out of the silent zone.
If you want to be, I mean, you could have just closed the cell door and stayed isolated before you open up like that door.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, let's see that really quick.
We should wait there.
Okay.
I'm gonna scratch my ear again and just say to Pantheon, "Did you get all that?"
Oh yeah. Come back soon though. I think things just got a little more complicated.
Oh,
And as she says this, we transition back to Jeremy.
Oh God.
Jeremy, what is the trajectory of what you have been doing leading up to the announcement?
Jeremy's just been zigging and zagging. He's been following these sewer tunnels to a specific location where he knows that a certain public figure will be making a speech today.
Mhm.
And while he's been moving, like right as he gets underneath like a sewer like manhole, he'll change out of his like sweater, and he'll put on it'll reveal his like PDP undersuit thing, and he'll put on his familiar drippy ass duster coat and his hat and his bandana, but he'll throw like a big old like sombrero type thing over all of it, and he'll leave the backpack like at the sewer ladder, but he'll climb up and like open the manhole a little bit, and when he's sure that no one else is around, then he'll open it up all the way and leave it open. And he pops out in a place that's like he can see like where the whole like announcement thing is going to go down, but he's not super close. He's like a good 100 feet away from like around a corner.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you where it's going to take place as we approach that the moment it happens. The actual location that the meeting, or not the meeting, the essentially press conference is going to take place is First City Hall. A large sort of recreation of a marbled structure. It has that sort of classic kind of Washington, D.C. sort of pillar with a triangular roof and a wide courtyard out front with topiary and a large area of seating that's been set up for this event specifically. But even though it is a recreation of that style, it's not actually marbled. There are fortifications. You see there are towers, there's security all over this place. And if we are actually approaching the moment when this is going to start to occur, you do see that press is gathering, crowds are gathering, and you can see First City Security making a very public showing, as well as using your keen perception, like individual points where they are sort of hidden. So not getting close, probably a good call, unless you're going into like the crowd, which is sort of separated off. Like there's an area for like press and people to just show up and like watch and listen. You also notice there are a lot of protesters just like at the ready that are being held back by security behind a line. They're not like trying to push through or anything, but they do have signs, and those like Rose knows and calling for him to resign. There's a showing of protesters there, and you can hear them chanting up until the moment when he makes his debut. And I want to ask you if there's anything else before that, or if you want to crest into that moment.
Nope, he's just waiting for him to start talking.
Okay. So going back to the prison for a moment, as the group returns to the viewing room, that sort of office that the elevator led into just before you actually crest out into the hallway, you notice that the warden and Dr. Baker are watching a replay of these events. And then you sort of gather around and you see Dr. Baker like issues you guys forward to gather around and watch this. And to you, this has already happened. But we're going to go back now to Jeremy watching from a distance as this happens live. And you see finally the crowd is hushed. The press begins to furiously take pictures as stepping out up to a podium surrounded by security on all sides. You see Albert Rose, a sturdy, portly man with broad shoulders and a deep gray, very faintly striped suit. His hair kind of parted back, but his eyes look extremely tired. The chanting of the protesters grows deafening, and you see that the security members begin to try to like shout over them and silence them. They take a step forward and they kind of sob. And Rose begins to speak. As you see huge from a distance for you as well, it's easier for you to see the big like Jumbotron screens projected up behind him as well. And he says, "People of the First City, I'm ashamed to have to apologize to you for my absence. But I would also like to assure you that that absence was not negligence of my duties as the director of the Allied Investigations Division. I have been diligently complying with all investigations and conducting one of my own, though my involvement has been admittedly limited given the allegations and suspicion that I blame none of you for in light of these events. What I have found is disturbing, to say the least. Disturbing the lack of information. Disturbing the shackles that I must wear to protect people who are meant to protect us. You see, there is a man at the heart of all of this. Someone who, by all accounts, should have far more answers than any of us do. Answers we deserve. But our laws dictate that I cannot reveal this information, can't unmask the truth. And in these moments, we face a crisis, the likes of which we've scarcely seen before. The city has endured much. This world has endured much. But to see the roots of corruption embedded within this mystery, within the infrastructure that is meant to keep us safe, it has failed us. And in not catching it, we have failed you. I have failed you. And I understand now that as director, as a participant in this system, I can't give you the answers you deserve. But doing so is more important than any position I may have. And so I officially, to you, the people of this city, I offer you my resignation as director of First City's division of AID. And as he's saying that, just the uproar of the crowd, the pictures, the people, and security begins to like trying to quiet them down. But he is already like sort of upraising his hand and just stepping away. So Jeremy, if you're going to do something, let me know when and what.
Before he even has a chance to step away, behind him, you just see a giant sheet of flames drop down in a massive rectangle and push into the building behind it. And as the shocked gasps of the audience kind of watch and wait, it'll slowly then drop down again. And you see massive, this portrait in the middle, JJ. To his left, Norman. To his right, Silencer. And around them, 12, about a dozen other faceless individuals, from children to look to be young adults from their builds, all staring off into the horizon. And underneath that, in giant print, is the words, "They shall not be forgotten." And then an eye opens up, and the pupil lights into flame that presses in underneath it, scorching into a symbol on the wall behind him.
It's the dopest thing I've ever heard in my entire fucking life.
And then once everybody truly is able to grasp that, the cameras get a good shot, you see the embers on JJ's figure slowly, as they were just starting to die out, they expand, spark, bright up, and then they congeal in front of him. And you see in this burst of flame, that same bird with the stained glass wings just appear and spread its wings and almost screech silently. And then it'll fly coasting over the crowd, not flapping its wings, but as if jets of fire are shooting out from each of the shards of broken glass, and it'll leave a gentle trail of embers as it flies across, and it'll fly and it'll go around Jeremy and land on his right shoulder, and he's standing there, disguised down, bandana, everything down, so that looking directly at Albert Rose, making sure that he can see, that the crowd can see, that the cameras can see, that the world can see that Jeremy did this and that Jeremy's back. And he'll stand there for a couple of seconds, and then he'll wordlessly just pull his hood up, pull his bandana up, go down the sewer drains, close it with his fire powers, and take off back to where his hideout is.
Yo.
As the panicked and bewildered sounds of the crowd erupt all around you and then begin to fade out as you make your escape. But other sounds of footsteps above, behind, trying to pursue as best as they can. Darkness ahead of you, but for your own light. The fire engulfs the panel. And that's where we will pick up next time.
Ben, your descriptions sometimes
I know.
are so
I
beautiful.
know.
And like, god damn.
You
A
guys-
bird with stained glass wings? Fuck off. That's so beautiful. I'm pissed.
Consider this a turning point.
Yeah.
That was a declaration there, boys.
Boy, howdy. Declaration of war.
You at home, feel free to chew on that one for a couple weeks. We love you very much. We'll see you next time. Keep it super.
Bye.